In this lesson, I'll be teaching you guys how to light interior scenes. We'll be setting up two scenes. The first scene we'll set up is this one. We'll be setting up a daylight lighting setup, and the second one will be a nighttime lighting setup. All right, let's get started. So first of all, we need the project that we're going to use. So we're going to want to get the Archviz Interior project. So we can go to the marketplace and over here search Archviz and click on free. And over here you will find the Archviz Interior. Click on this project and get this project and then create a new project. So you can create it for Unreal Engine 4.27. We're going to change that later, don't worry. And once you have the project created, you can right click and show in folder. And once we're here, we can right click on this file, the u.u project. We can right click on this and go into show more options and then switch Unreal Engine version. And you can switch the version to 5.3 over here. And then I'm going to launch this. Okay, so the project is open. There's a lot of artifacts here. Don't worry, we'll be fixing all of this, and we won't be using this project. We're just moving the stuff from here to our own project. So I'm going to create my own project. I'm going to go into games and blank and enable ray tracing and name this interior scene. And now that this is created, we can go back to our Archviz project and we can open the content drawer, go into maps, and we want this map, the archviz_rt. So we're going to right click this, asset actions, and migrate, and click on OK. Now in your Unreal projects, find your new project you created, the interior scene for me, and go into content and click select folder, and this should move everything over to your new project. Okay, so we can close this now. Now that we are in our own project, we can see that we have all the files available here. We've imported everything. So first of all, I'm going to go into the project settings. I'm going to go into rendering, and then over here in Lumen, I'm going to enable use hardware ray tracing when available and make sure support hardware ray tracing is enabled as well. Also, you can change some other settings. I'll increase the reflection resolution, and that's it for the project settings. So now let's fix this up. So before I do that, I'm going to duplicate this map and I'm going to name this archviz_day. And now I'm going to open this one. This video is a small part of my full course in which I teach you everything to do with lighting in Unreal Engine, from product lighting to automotive lighting and some interior architectural visualization to some exterior scenes. If you want, you can click the link in the description and check out my course. Thanks. Now back to the video. Now to fix all of these things, the first thing we're gonna have to do is set everything to Lumen. Right now, why it's acting so weird is because the post-process settings are not good for Unreal Engine 5. So we're gonna find the lighting folder and we're gonna delete everything. But before that, I'm gonna fix this with making my own post processing. So I'm gonna delete this post process volume, and now I'm going to go here, volumes and post processing. I'm gonna put this here, and I'm gonna go down and go into exposure. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the metering mode to manual and remove applied camera exposure, and also set the compensation to 5.5. And now I'm going to go all the way down and enable infinite extent unbound. Now we're going to go up into the lighting folder, and we're going to delete all of the lights. Now that we have all the lights deleted, you can see there's still a lot of lighting in the scene. It's because of the materials. Some of the curtain materials are emitting light, and also this background city image is also emitting light. So we want to fix that first. So I'm going to click on the city, and I'm going to open up the material over here. Here we have it. And in the multiply, I'm going to set this to 1 and save this. So that's better for now. And also for these curtain materials, we want to modify them. But first, just so we can start working, I'm going to click on the curtain and go into the blinds material and set the intensity to 0 and save this. And now I'm going to select the curtain, and I'm going to open the curtain emissive material. And for now, I'm going to set the emissive power to 0 and then save this. Now we have pretty much removed all the lights from our scene, and I'm going to start lighting it. So the way we're going to start lighting it, if we go into window and we click on environment light mixer, it will open up a window like this. So all we have to do is click on these buttons. So create skylight, create atmospheric light, create sky atmosphere, create volumetric cloud, and create high fog. So with this, we have basically set up the exterior lighting automatically. And now what we can do is, if we hold on control and press L as well, we can move the light around by just moving our mouse. So I'm gonna move the light something like this in this direction. Next, what we want to do is we want to go into the height fog, and we want to go down and enable volumetric fog. Once we click this, you can see the fog is gone from inside the room. But make sure your directional light is not casting ray traced shadows, or else this feature will not work. As you can see, when we enable it, there's fog everywhere. It doesn't work properly with uh, volumetric fog, so we want to keep this at disabled. Also, in post process, we already set the exposure to a fixed exposure. You can change this over here, but I'm going to keep it at 5.5, and we can start working with the lights now. So the first thing I want to add is more ambient light, more bounce light in the room. So one way we could do that is, if we select the directional light, we could boost the indirect lighting intensity. But a better way to get better lighting is, we want more accurate lighting, or more lighting coming through the windows. So we're gonna go into lights, and we're gonna add a rec light over here. And I'm gonna position this over here, and I'm gonna change the barn door length to 0, and I'm gonna make this like 106 by 150. And now I can position this light over here. Also, I'm gonna click on this button so there's no more snapping when we move this. I'm going to position this right in front of the window, move this back. We're putting this inside our room, not outside. So we're going to bring this up right to the blinds and put this over here. And I'm going to change the intensity to 0.5. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this by holding down Alt and moving this. And I'm putting this rec light in front of all of the windows. Also, I'm going to select all of the rec lights and I'm going to change them to movable, and I'm going to search for ray tracing, and I'm going to enable ray trace shadows. So now we have put our lights over there, and now I'm going to select one of these lights and I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to rotate this, and we want to move these to this window over here. And duplicate this for the other one as well. Now already this scene is looking much better, so we can see the difference. If we select all of our lights, you can see there's a huge difference. So you want to add more lights wherever your light is coming in from in your interior scenes. That makes the light much better. You can see there's a lot of noise without it, and once we add our lights, it becomes way better. So I'm going to select all of the rec lights, and I'm going to go into use temperature, and I'm going to set the temperature to 5500. This way the lights look a bit warmer. So if we disable this, you can see just a slight change in the tone. You can obviously make this much bigger, like if you set this to 4000, it's a lot warmer, or if you set this to 8000, it becomes colder. But I'm going for a 5500. I'm going for a slightly warmer look. And now we can add a light over here. So I'm going to bring in a point light, place this over here. I'm going to enable ray trace shadows for this light. Set this to movable. Also, I'm going to reduce this to 0.5, 0.1, just so I can see better. And I'm going to make the source radius 5 and make this much warmer. So in the temperature, I can set this to like 4000. I'm actually gonna make this slightly more warmer, so I'll set this to 3500, and that looks good to me. So we're pretty much done with the lighting of our scene. We already have great lighting, so we're just gonna set the settings in our post-process volume. So I'm gonna go into the post-process volume, and in Lumen Global Illumination, I'm gonna bump these up, and also the reflections. I'm gonna set the quality to 2, and ray lighting mode to hit lighting for reflections, and high quality translucent reflections. You can see over here how much of a difference this makes. So you want this enabled, and we can set this higher. If you go over here, I think you can see the bounces, max reflection bounces, what this does. So you want to bump this up, and we're pretty much done here, but you can adjust the settings like the saturation and contrast. You can make this 1.1 to add a bit more contrast, or whatever settings you want. You can change the saturation and stuff like that, however you want it to look. And finally, the last thing I want to do is I'm going to fix the materials for the curtains. So the first one I'm going to fix is this one. I'm going to select this and you want to browse to it, click on this icon and right click this and duplicate it and name this m underscore curtain subsurface. Open this up and what you want to do is you want to click on this over here and go into the shading model and change this to subsurface and bring in the color and plug this into subsurface color and you can save this and now you can apply this material to the curtains. You can see they become brighter where there's more light, and also over here I'm going to find this white fabric material and I'm going to open this up and we want to scroll down and double click on the parent material and then scroll down and double click on the master material. And over here, what we're going to do is we're going to bring this node and plug this into subsurf color. Don't worry even if it's grayed out, and then save this material. Now what I'll do is I'll duplicate the white fabric material and add subsurf. Double click this and down in the settings, we're going to go into material property overrides and click on the shading model and change this to subsurface. And now save this. I'm going to apply this to our curtains. And we're pretty much done with this scene now. We can render this out. If you're lighting a scene for a game, then in the post-process volumes, just bump down the lumen settings. Don't make them so high. Just keep these on the default and you should have good performance. And now that we're going to render this out, we're going to set everything to the max and we can create a sequence. We're going to create a new folder, name it asset. I'm going to go in here, name this SEQ, open this up and create a new level sequence. I'm going to name this SEQ underscore interior and open this up. Now that we have this opened, I'm going to click on this camera button. This will create a new camera for us and I'll move this somewhere over here. Also in the camera settings, I'm going to change the film back to DSLR and I'm going to change the focal length to 25. Now I'm going to position this over here and go into the focus settings, click on the eyedropper and click on this couch over here and I'm going to say change the aperture and max this out to 22. Now we didn't enable the movie render queue, so we have to do that. We're going to go into plugins and enable the movie render queue. And we can restart our project. Save everything. Now we're going to go back and open our map. We'll open our sequence. Now that we're here, we can click on render and unsaved config. Now we're going to add game overrides. We're going to add anti-aliasing. I'm going to set this to override anti-aliasing, leave the method to none, and I'm going to set the temporal sample count to 32. You can set this to 64 or something higher if you want better results. And next, I'm going to add console variables. And I'm going to click on this plus button over here under console variables. And what I'm going to add is I'm going to add r dot ray tracing dot shadow shadows samples per pixel, this one over here, click on this and set this to 64. Or you can set this to a lower value like 8 or 16 depending on the GPU you have. So I'll leave this at 32. And next we can go into output and we can change our resolution. I'm going to render this in 4K. And I'm going to use custom playback range and I'm going to set this to 1 and set the end frame to 2 and just hit render. And now in your project folder, you can go into saved movie renders and here is your render. I hope this video was useful to you. If you'd like, you can support me by buying the course linked below, or you could support me by joining my Patreon, which is also linked below. Thanks.